I remember actually being called up out of junior hockey. It was a hockey game in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan one night. I was playing junior. I got benched halfway through the second period, and we were getting beat 8-3 by the Mesenhat Tigers. And I thought, what in the world is going on? I'm not playing that bad. Why are you benching me? So after the end of the game, I went flying into the GM's office, and as a kid, I was pretty, I'm a little bit quieter now, but as a kid, I was pretty confident. And I looked them right in the eyes, like, what is going on? Do you guys know what you're doing? Like, and they said, well, we didn't know what to do. I said, we got a call halfway through the second period. The Blackhawks had another injury, so we didn't know what, and they want you to play tomorrow night in Chicago Stadium against New Jersey. So we didn't know whether to bench you or to tell you, so we benched you. So I said, fine by me. So the next night, or next day, my trainer sent me with my skates. I showed up in Chicago. I actually had to use Stu Grimson's hockey stick when I got there. All new equipment, and I had Mike Keenan as a coach. Mike Keenan, Daryl Sutter. Mike Keenan used to kick me in the back when he used to walk by. I was an 18-year-old kid. I played in northern Saskatchewan in the dead of winter the night before, so it was a transition that it was kind of overwhelming. I didn't have much time to think about it. I never had a question that there was a God or anything like that. I always believed Christ to be my Savior. Every Sunday I would, receive Christ because, it was just, I want to go to heaven, right? One thing that they didn't share with me as much as a kid, they didn't focus on is when we become Christians and we say, yeah, Jesus, you know what? Thank you for dying for me. It's an absolute gift, but we inherit an enemy at that point too, where we need people praying for us as well as praying for other people, because there's a spiritual battle that goes on that, I think sometimes we may forget about. If you think you can, do it on your own, you can't. That doesn't mean you're weak. You're human. You can't do it on your own. And I think it's a lot harder to walk in that kind of a life, a disciplined, focused life that's loving people. It's a lot easier to chop down a tree than try and grow one. I'm noted for my skating ability, but I've struggled with my skates for my whole career with my feet. I've had so many different types of orthotics, and there's been a point where I have thrown them all out. There's been a point where I have messed around with so much because nothing has ever been exactly right. As an athlete, it's like if you don't feel right, you're not right. You're thinking about your feet, you can't play the game. So there's been a point where I've questioned, God, what is, why? Why do I struggle with my feet and my skates and my stick, and why is it always off all the time? It just seems to be, right? And I would think, if God's on my side, like everything would be streamlined and whatnot, but it hasn't been that way. It hasn't been easy. In my career, nothing has really come easy. I don't know why, but I think it's probably a little bit of a character builder. I don't know what he's building it for, but hopefully it's something, right? You need to focus on the process rather than the result. I see a lot of young players, and myself included, that everybody wants to score goals, but sometimes they forget. You got to skate, shoot, go to the net, do discipline yourself to do the small things that results in getting a goal. There was a point when I actually severed my Achilles tendon, and there was a point where I was, now dealing with the question of, this is my career, this is my life, where I was starting to become more serious about both, and God really got a hold of me when He had a man pray for me, and I received healing in my Achilles tendon. God really got my attention, and He said, basically in my heart, it was like, there's more to this whole thing than just playing hockey and making money. He wants to do something with my life. Your hope and your dream is to get there, to win, to be all that. But that's, your vision of what, the epitome is. And then there's the reality where, you have to maintain your focus on doing the basic things that allow you to be a good player to maybe possibly get there. You never know exactly the way it's going to all play out. Everybody's got their own idea. It's just straight there and win it. But I've been on 3 different teams with 3 different runs to the cup, and never quite won it, but my focus has still been to be that player, to continue to develop as a player, as a person. And I believe that if I never ever got there again, I'd still keep dreaming about it. I think that when I look at my life, I look at where I've come from and the steps that I've taken to get where I'm at, and also the things that God has provided in the background for me. I've seen that He cares not only about my hockey life as my career, but He cares about me as an individual. He's given me a great wife. He's given me 4 beautiful kids. He's really given me a lot in that sense. And to me, that speaks that He really does love me. My vision was honestly doing 7-Up and Snickers commercials and being some, superstar, and everybody would probably like that. But He's given me more than that, and I think recognizing that is where I see, God really does love me.